Laugh Factory Network.
Wait for it. Wait for it.
Who am I? You sure you want to know?
What does that make us? Sidekicks?
It's the Trusty Sidekick podcast with your hosts, Jay Washington, Bobby Hill.
What's happening, everybody? We're back. It is episode 75 of the Trusty Sidekick podcast here on the Laugh Factory Podcast Network with me, your resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington.
And me, your resident superhero, Bobby Hill.
Hey, man. Welcome to the second week, I guess, or third week of the new year, whatever it is when you get this.
It is, I don't know, second. We'll go with second.
It's our first...
Full second.
It's our first official coming back of the new year.
It's the start of the third week, I guess.
You realize how fast this year is going by, dude?
Dude, it's already, we're halfway through the month already.
I know. I was like, this is ridiculous.
Halfway through the month. Shows are already getting ready to, they're already coming back. We're already getting down to some season endings of some shit.
Season finales, season premieres, series premieres, all that.
Greetings.
How was your past week, man?
Oh, man. The world has been crazy. We've been going through a lot of craziness that's been going on in the world. But,
I think the world knows about our world craziness.
Oh, my
so
God.
I don't think that is...
my personal craziness has been good. I can't remember the shows that I've been on. I'm high as hell right now, but that'll be fun for the audience. Yeah, I've been on a few shows. I'm going back to Chicago next week to do some more shit, which we can talk about later.
Cool.
Which we get up there for like 5 or 6 days. The kid turns 12.
You got to be there.
Gotta get home for that, which is cool. But other than that, just been writing and performing and chasing everything like everybody else is out here. What about you?
I've been doing a lot of different shows. Shout out to everybody who's been showing me love, seeing me on Collider Movie Talk, as well as Collider Heroes. I made a couple debuts on those, and that was very fun. Being able to talk with the crew and everybody saying, "Oh, you actually know what you're talking about." I'm like, yes.
What a surprise.
What a surprise. But it's been fun doing that, man. It's been interesting doing that, doing a bunch of different shows. I got a bunch of shows coming up. Just been staying busy nonstop, trying to do a lot of stuff with talking, getting people's knowledge up about Black Panther. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
People who think it's just a Marvel movie when it's really more. It is a movement. This is hashtag for the culture.
Yeah, it's for sure going down. We're officially a month away, right?
We're officially a month away.
By the time you're listening to this at home, we are less than a month away.
Yeah, the movie drops February 16th. Fan screenings happen Thursday, February 15th. The soundtrack, which you need to get because we have not been on here to talk about it, first and foremost.
Let's cover that part.
That soundtrack drops February 9th. Kendrick Lamar and Anthony Top Dog Triffin from TDE Entertainment are producing the soundtrack. We've got 2 singles already.
So white people gonna hate it. Well, old white people gonna hate it. Young white people gonna embrace it.
They're gonna embrace it. We've got the first single, the lead single, which was All the Stars, Kendrick Lamar and SZA. Then we just got the second with King's Dead with J-Rock, Future, Kendrick, and James Blake, man. So this soundtrack is gonna be...
It's gonna be banging for sure.
I've been telling everybody, this soundtrack is gonna emulate what we were getting back in the 90s with R&B sound. When soundtracks actually were just as appealing as the movie.
It's gonna be like when Tupac was in movies. We're going back to the Tupac movie era.
Yeah, that too, shit. Above the Rim, nigga. The movies used to...
Above the Rim soundtrack was the coldest joint.
Was it? Did it beat Boomerang? It didn't beat Boomerang.
No, Boomerang was dope too.
Boomerang was dope.
But Above the Rim was a dope
Above the Rim was
soundtrack.
shit. Juice was dope.
Juice soundtrack was
Waiting
dope.
Exhale was
the
nice.
Juice and the Above the Rim soundtracks, those are the ones where hip hop really kind of took a stronghold. Boomerang had a lot
New
of
Jersey Drive.
R&B
New Jersey Drive.
Yeah, New Jersey Drive.
New Jersey Drive did it too.
But but this soundtrack is going to be one of those where you're like, okay,
this one is
the Greatest Showman, and then Black.
That's literally. I thought you were saying Kendrick Lamar was the Greatest Showman because
possibly.
No, because I've been talking to a lot of people about this.
Can you imagine that someday there being a musical about Kendrick Lamar with just like the Greatest Showman, but it's Kendrick Lamar?
I got loyalty, got royalty inside my DNA with a bunch of dancers. I can see it right.
I can see it already.
I can see it right now. Just
Where's Lin-Manuel Miranda? We need him to get
doing Lin-Manuel Miranda doing Humble. Nobody pray for me. Yeah.
Oh, that'd be great.
So we're going to kick it off. Speaking of Black Panther, man, the official runtime for the film has been released, okay? Black Panther is set to be 2 hours and 15 minutes long.
Originally a 4-hour movie.
What, a 4-hour cut down to 2:15?
I want that direct. Now see,
I want that direct. Let me tell you.
That's the one I want. I want the one where there's parts of it where he's just like, nigga. For like,
nigga, what? That's all you just said in script.
Just 30 seconds of just dudes in the circle just being like,
nigga, what? Nigga, for real. Just 30 seconds of that cut.
Yeah, a lion's mask, dog. He had on a lion's mask.
That nigga took a goat skull,
It was a
nigga.
panther, dog.
Nigga, what? I just want all those. I just want the cut with.
That's the 4-hour version.
I just want the 4-hour cut with Ryan Coogler in one set and one behind the scenes is like these niggas out here tripping. I just want to see.
But it is a 2-hour, 15-minute runtime, which is a very solid runtime for a movie.
For
I
a
think
solo
that's-
film.
I think that's good. Let me
ask you this.
230 is too long. 220 is kind of pushing it. 215 is like because you know there's going to be 25 minutes of preview, so you know you're going to spend almost 3 hours at the
Let
movie.
me ask you this, and I was talking to somebody about this recently. With the fact that films are now becoming predicated on being 2 hours,
Right.
Do you think that's too long, or we should go back to the original 90 minutes, 145 runtimes?
I am interested in stories that have things that fit the actual telling of the story.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we're joke writers, man. You know how it is when you got too much fat on a joke and then
You have to trim it
it
down.
becomes bloated. Like there's some shit there that's just for for gratification of whoever's directing the movie and doesn't often relate to symbolizing anything that's actually you're trying to get across.
There's always
I think
gonna be that
there's
for
a
the
lot of
directors.
that. I think the reason why movies run long is poor storytelling generally. Sometimes there's a lot of story to tell and you have a lot of subject matter to cover, and that's
Now, in that
fine.
case, yes, I
That
understand.
makes sense when you're writing an epic story, but also there's times where there's just a bunch of dialogue that doesn't need to be there, a la the last Star Wars movie.
Or I was gonna say, he said
Tell
Star
a better
Wars.
story. You know what I mean?
I was gonna say
visually,
Justice League, where you should have had a longer run time than 2 hours because there was so much more to
Yeah,
be
there was
told.
more that you could have kind of.
There was more to be
in on.
told.
There wasn't, and the problem there was they didn't get enough of the story across in what you saw.
And
right?
again, we got to go through that whole. Well, wait till the director's cut.
Right.
And
For me to feel your story, you either got to show me or tell me.
Right, absolutely.
And the telling has to be done in a way that makes sense. It can't be just somebody there standing there telling me a story or just a voiceover all the time.
Yeah, so
I think 2 hours 15 is good. I think
Okay.
it gives us a good opportunity to see like this evolution of these characters. I think the one thing about a long movie like that is you really have time to get into the machinations of a villain a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe we get a better villain this time in Killmonger, which I think we're expecting.
Well, I think-
you do have claws and underling to him, or
vice versa.
vice versa, but.
We don't know. We know that in the comics, both Claw and Killmonger are primary villains of the Black Panther. So
Right.
there's no telling who steps to who. But I'm kind of sure that pretty much it's going to be Michael B. Jordan's Eric Killmonger.
Yeah.
For that. Also with Black Panther, now the tickets have gone on sale, and they went on sale during the College Football National Championship, and 24 hours later.
Nothing like during the exploitation of America's young black youth.
Oh, shut the hell up. 24 hours later, Fandango reported that Black Panther was the top-selling MCU title within the first 24 hours of pre-sale.
Not only did they say that, they also mentioned the surprise.
What was the surprise?
They're utter.
They're surprised. They're
utterly
surprised.
surprised at the
Let
fact
me-
that
let
black
me bring
people will
the-
show up to
this-
see black people in a movie.
This is something a lot of people need to
Or that
understand.
white guilt is strong. One of the two. Maybe.
But I think it's a combination. I think it's a real big combination. But let's say this, and I know a lot of people are gonna say, "Damn, do Jay and Bobby just talk like this?" First of all, for those who are new to this, welcome to the podcast. What you got are two black dudes who are geeks and nerds at this, but we have this talk like
but
barbershop.
still black, nigga.
But we have it like barbershop talk, so we keep it real and keep it 100 with y'all.
Right.
I don't know why people are. I read a comment from a certain movie critic who said, "Interesting. Black Panther has sold more tickets than Captain America."
Yeah, don't even put his name out there.
I'm not going to. But my thing is, there's nothing interesting. It's been proven in the United States throughout the economic research over years that the black market is overwhelmingly underestimated.
Yeah.
Overwhelmingly underestimated.
Yep.
That we aren't appreciated as consumers. That we're not seen as actually going to spend
There
money
was a
on
quote
something.
from a movie exec recently that told I think it told a black actress that black women don't go to see horror films. It's like, are you out of your fucking mind?
I mean, and who did that fucking market research?
What market research led you to believe that was how that worked?
That was how.
That is
just
not how it
because
works.
just because you only
They
gave
made,
the tickets.
they made bootleg how.
No, I mean, but we want to count the actual. Which, by the way, if you bootleg this fucking movie when it comes out, I'm beating your motherfucking skull.
Yeah,
in.
this is the one time I would like a list of who made bootleg the movie.
Yeah, because I'm going to your house like Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back.
Well, here's the thing. It's so whenever something breaks a record, you want to make sure you point out the fact that it did. The question is in how you point that fact out, right? It's one thing to say, "Wow, this is cool to see."
Right.
Black Panther, but it's a different thing when you say interesting, because what you're saying is, I'm surprised
I'm shocked
that this
that it
movie
did-
about these black people would outsell Captain America, as if this isn't a character who's been around forever.
Right. The Black Panther, the character has been around since 1966, I believe.
This is literally one of the main black characters in the Marvel universe.
He is actually
of the handful that there are, by the way.
He has led the Avengers on numerous occasions.
Absolutely. He's the fucking king of a country.
Nobody
else in here is a king of a god. There's gods. There's a god.
There's billionaires.
Or the son of a god.
There's billionaires.
Nobody who's the king of a country.
Which no one seems to understand that.
The most intriguing part of this. And he's a black king. The symbolism in that alone... I mean, even if you... Hey, listen, I'm sure there's a lot of woke white people who got tickets to this movie. Congratulations. Thank you for playing your part and making sure this is what it is. I'm sure there's a bunch of people of other races who are like, yo, if we show up for their movie, maybe we can prove they can make a movie about us. We can get a Sunspot flick out of this.
Yo, they need to recast the motherfucker from Sunspot first and foremost. Cast an Afro-Latino dude to be Brazilian, and you were fine. But that's a whole nother story.
I think it's important to note that it's not... It shouldn't have to be surprising. What we should be is applauding. We should be saying, hey, in this place that everybody does admit has a lot of racial divide, we will still turn out for something that we think is important and of quality and looks like it's going to be good. Also, the movie looks like it's going to be really fucking good.
You know what? Another thing, the movie actually, and I keep telling everybody, the movie it's a completely different look from any other Marvel film. Also, can people stop saying, sure, it's the highest of pre-sales until Infinity War? Nobody's fucking trying to sit there and play, oh, well, you can have this little moment real quick and something takes it away. Let this movie be what it is in the moment.
Yeah, it's not about it being a competition. It's a recognition of something that just happened. And the fact that, hey, by the way, you guys haven't had a black-led superhero film in a long fucking since Blade, which wasn't even a full Marvel release,
and it wasn't even a major blockbuster release.
Exactly.
By the way,
so it's really and to be honest with you, Blade is honestly more of a cult thing. There's a lot of people that haven't seen fucking Blade.
And if you didn't know, and especially some kids, if you didn't watch the old Fox Spider-Man cartoon, you weren't too much familiar with him either.
Exactly.
So I mean, there's no disrespect to Wesley Snipes by any means. Y'all already know I'll name drop that man in a minute.
No, I'm just saying.
But no, I'm just saying so we could clarify that.
Right.
But this is something.
But it's not about a competition.
It's not about a competition.
It's about recognizing, hey, this is a cool thing that happened, and not acting like you're surprised that it could happen. It's the first major release of the year for them, also. So, race aside, this is the next big Marvel.
This is
movie.
if you're Marvel, this is how you want to start your year out.
Yeah, and you know what if you're a Marvel fan and you've been watching all these movies. So let's take race out of it for a minute, okay? Let's just talk about what movie this is in the series. This is the one before the big fucking one. Penultimate is a cool word for a reason, and penultimate means the one before the big one. This is it. If you want to know what the fuck is going on when Thanos arrives, this is the last piece of the puzzle before he shows up. So, race aside, this movie is important on that alone.
And for all of my wrestling fans who check this out, this is what we consider our go-home movie. This is right before the big thing. So, next week on Raw is the go-home Raw before the Royal Rumble. So this is that
setup. It's penultimate.
That's the penultimate. Yes, that's the best term. But I wanted to use it in wrestling terminology as well. It's the penultimate movie from.
That's what that Raw episode is.
Yes,
that is the penultimate episode before the next big.
Long story short, this movie is a lot of cultural, historic, and great relevancy. Get your ticket, man. I know a lot of places are sold out. Shout out to Lupita Nyong'o, who made a post and said she was trying to buy her own ticket because everybody's like, "Why would you buy a ticket? You in the movie?" She still wants to support.
Still black, nigga.
Still want to fucking support. Jesus. And so she was like, at 15 minutes afterwards, she couldn't get it. It was sold out. So thank you to everybody who sold. I'm acting like I'm in the film, but as somebody who grew up with the Black Panther as a character, somebody who's always wanted to see this, somebody who was pissed when we had a Black Panther cartoon on BET that had to come on at 2 in the fucking morning. Believe me, I'm very excited about this. Okay, so we'll talk more about it again. We'll be more in depth about this. A lot of things are coming up.
There's more news coming out that Jay's involved in with it.
So we'll get to that. But also, so now let's move forward to what different things with the MCU and potential the merger and everything. Disney. Now, supposedly Fox is selling Disney for $52 billion. Here's the thing.
We briefly talked about that a couple weeks ago, and we didn't have any new news on it for a while because basically that's all it is.
And because the merger is not official.
The FCC has to okay it.
And the reason the FCC is not being allowed to fully okay it yet is because of a federal injunction due to the fact that the president ran his mouth on the AT&T Time Warner merger.
Right.
So I'm not going to say anything on a political stance, but if he wanted this to go through, he should have never said one. So both have to go through.
The basic part of it is that he had concerns about what would happen with Fox News in this merger, because he doesn't want Disney to have control of Fox News. Fox News is not a part of the deal.
Right, he doesn't want
Fox
that.
News will still be kept separate. So hopefully that will.
No, actually, it wasn't even that. It was the fact he didn't want CNN to grow bigger with the AT&T Time Warner merger.
Well, originally, yeah.
But he
also in this run, with this going on, one of his major concerns was that Fox News is going to be a part of that merger.
Oh yeah. Oh well, that was Rupert Murdoch's not giving that up at all.
Yeah. So there are still. I mean, in the meantime, Disney and Fox have to move forward as if this is a deal that they are figuring out how to make happen.
Yeah, you got to look at it.
The deal is inked. It's a matter of going through the finalization through governmental regulation and okay from that standpoint.
Which also will make plans to something really big we'll talk about a little bit later. I don't know if we're going to get into it now, but we might get into it later. But I think this merger and the fact that it's not official or some other things are planning is something really big. But nonetheless, Disney is open to an R-rated Marvel brand. So remember, we had Marvel Knights back in the day. That was the darker version of it. You got a little bit more guts and gore.
Because the question that happens as soon as this happened is, what's going to happen with all these properties?
No, just, it wasn't even all these properties. It was just Deadpool. Literally.
Deadpool and any future Wolverine action.
Literally, everybody said what's going to happen to Deadpool.
What's happening to Deadpool?
And Kevin Feige has said, and even the heads of them have said, Iger has said, yes, it will stay the way it is. So that was a big sigh of relief for that.
And I think, Disney probably is not eager to jump into R-rated movies, but Marvel themselves don't have a problem with it, I don't think.
But you also got to remember Disney can, because remember, Disney had absolved Miramax, and we always bring it up, Pulp Fiction.
Yeah, I think Disney doesn't want it to be their main thing, but I'm sure if they can make it look like it's as spun off as possible, the least connected as they can, you know what I mean?
Without... it's there, but
you have to really remember to trace the steps. Remember that Freeform is attached to Disney. Right? So you can slip in family shit without you knowing.
Now, speaking of a lot of Disney stuff and properties, Lego is back at it. Lego gives you the toys of everything, which is beautiful. But here's the problem we've had with a lot of Lego toys when it comes to these movies. They tend to give away a lot of spoilers, whether you want them or not. So Lego has released their Infinity War toys. Excuse me, because I'm just as high as Bobby. Lego has released their Infinity War toys, all right? Here's the problem. There's some good-looking Lego toys in there. You get the Sanctum Sanctorum. You get the Milano.
The playsets look dope. That Milano looks awesome.
That Milano looks dope. But here are
two delicious cookie.
Here are two things that you get. Number one, we already know that the Iron Spider is what Spider-Man's going to wear, but the Lego toys show the Iron Spider with the extended arms.
Yeah, we saw him. In the trailer, you see that new suit, and there's always that question of, they fuck with suits all the time anyway, so are you going to get what you get? One of the weirdest things of the Iron Spider suit was those additional arms.
How did the legs get a retractable arms and legs?
Yeah, and how they function. So I'm interested to see how they do that. CGI as a motherfucker. I'm sure they can make it do whatever the hell they want to.
Rush. But here's the biggest spoiler, and it's kind of not a spoiler, but we already knew it was coming.
Yeah.
So in Thor Ragnarok, if you have not seen it, spoiler alert, Thor loses his hammer. He loses Mjolnir. Right. Now, everybody
What happens in the trailer?
It happens in the trailer. Well, everyone knew that if he loses his hammer, he has to get this axe. That's the next best thing.
Yeah, the axe was his other little cool toy.
He didn't get it in Thor Ragnarok.
Did not.
So we were like, oh shit, what happens? And then the talk of Avengers dying and recasting and resetting the universe. So it was like, does he get it in 3? Does he get it in 4?
Yeah.
The toy reveals he does have his axe in.
Yeah, which would be cool. I'm excited to see that happen.
How do you think he gets it?
I'm not sure.
I think I know how.
I'm not sure what the storyline will be as to how he gets the
Doctor
axe.
Strange.
That could be possible.
I think Doctor Strange.
They do have this friendship thing going on.
I think go back in time. He's like, well, I'm gonna do something. I can't remake a hammer,
right?
But I'll do something else.
Yeah. I can fucking riddle you this and give you an enchanted. He'll give an enchanted axe. That's where the enchantment comes from. Maybe Doctor Strange's enchantment this time.
Speaking of which, with Thor, Chris Hemsworth, his contract is officially up after this now.
Yeah, he doesn't have to do anything if he doesn't want to, but he does like money.
He likes money, and he's having fun again.
Yeah, there is some fun there. Playing, Chris Hemsworth. It's funny because you see actors sometimes, you're like leading man, comedy guy, leading man, and and it's very hard to always buy hot dudes as being funny. Very true. Hemsworth is a hot dude. That's not.
A lot of people couldn't accept him as being funny. You just couldn't get past his looks.
Right. But he really likes doing funny.
And
shit.
he is funny.
He likes doing comedic stuff.
And Thor Ragnarok
he just happens to be built like a brick,
like a brick shit house.
All right. Oh no! Did we just?
Wait a minute! I'm going to include this.
I set you up like I ate the sandbox.
I just want you to know that you won't hear this now, Bobby. But in the edit, I'm going to add the Pee Wee Herman sound effect. So the moment we say he's built like a brick, he's built like a brick. What? Shit house. You gonna hear?
That was better than any alley-oop that happened yesterday.
Oh my God. So
also, do you think it's weird that they make the NBA work on Martin Luther King Day?
You niggas gonna work today.
Like, come on.
We just can't. We can't hoop tomorrow.
This shouldn't be like.
This shouldn't be the day we don't work.
Day off. This is.
I mean, yo,
It's largely us, nigga.
Like we worked on Christmas, fam. What the fuck? Like.
Holy shit! No holidays.
So yeah, but he and Taika Waititi are discussing what to do.
Yeah,
Taika Waititi
definitely wants to do another one.
He has said he's interested in doing a Thor Ragnarok 2. Now, again, I know people are like, what do you mean? That makes it Thor 4. No, this is a sequel just to Ragnarok, not to the Thor franchise.
Well, if you remember, Kevin Feige talked about how after they finished this series of movies that like they were going to do some different things as to how they move forward in the universe. So being able to do like a spin-off where you get a Ragnarok 2, and I think this may have been, who knows how long these conversations have been happening between these people. If Feige really likes Waititi and has a chance to keep Hemsworth in to make some more money, and Thor is making more money than it did in the previous 2 iterations that they had, like fuck it, man, you go for the dough and you do a spin-off of him just on his own on a mission, right? Like that's the deal.
Speaking of Waititi, now he's also had recently revealed that he is interested in doing the solo Black Widow film.
Right.
And a lot of us didn't know that was going to happen. Well, that film is in development currently, okay?
It is in development. Jack Schaefer's writing the script.
Now he currently wrote. She currently wrote. You see Jack. You see he. I'm sorry.
Jack does seem like a. It sounds like guy, but then you. Like,
Jacqueline possibly. She currently wrote Nasty Women, which is a Dirty Rotten Scoundrels remake, and The Shower, a blacklisted script starring both starring Anne Hathaway, and they are in production right now currently.
Yeah, The Shower is a movie about a woman who's on her way to a baby shower, and then an alien invasion happens.
I want you to say that again and try to sound real convincing with that.
It's an Anne Hathaway movie, though. I think she's got ties with Anne Hathaway because she's written 2 movies recently that Anne Hathaway is starring in. The Dirty Rotten Scoundrels remake with Anne Hathaway in that one, which I'm interested to see how that plays out. And then this movie, The Shower, which I think is interesting. You know what I mean? I'm excited to see how that plays. But it sounds like she's got some skills with some screenwriting. So the movie isn't completely greenlit yet. Kevin Feige sounds like he's waiting to see like what script she turns in and whether it kind of fits into something they can do.
And this is possible to be the team up that Tessa Thompson wants. Now, they've been talking about bringing the Lady Liberators in. I'm not sure if this will be considered to be the Lady Liberators.
Right.
But this may be the Black Widow film where she has all of the lead women characters.
It'll be the Captain America, Avengers, Civil War.
Minus the fights.
Of the lady team.
Of the lady team,
right?
yeah.
Like,
So.
without calling it the team-up movie, it'll kind of be a
team-up movie.
Right.
Speaking of team-up movies, Guardians of the Galaxy, James Gunn, his director, has confirmed that Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 will be back in 2020.
He knew they were getting a third, right?
Yeah, he's been said that. That's why. And also, 3 open dates are locked by Marvel right now in the cinematic box office. So there's May 1st, August 7th, and November 6th.
So if you're Chris Pratt, you are on fire right now. He's got a new Jurassic movie coming out.
You are just making all
and that
money.
movie's going to make a shit ton of money because there's a whole new bunch of kids that are into dinosaurs.
Because it's a Jurassic movie.
He's got another Lego movie coming out.
Yep.
So there's a Lego movie 2. And now he's got a Guardians 3 movie, he's got 2 more Avengers movies.
And Guardians.
And for sure, he's got some part he can play, because now they're going into space. So
he'll be involved,
as long as he wants
Doctor
to
Strange,
be
Captain
Star-Lord,
Marvel.
he can Star-Lord his way in there.
We don't know yet. So again, I mean, and James Gunn actually was taking questions recently on Twitter, and he said, I'm having an open Q&A for a minute. And somebody asked a very good question I thought about, and it's kind of interesting. He didn't answer it. Somebody said, will the Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 soundtrack have 300 songs on it?
Right.
Because we both know both of the soundtracks have been predicated on his awesome mixtapes, Volume 1 and 2, so the songs are there.
Right.
We know for a fact there's not going to be a 300 song soundtrack because that is just as fucking ridiculous as Chris Brown making a 45 CD soundtrack. And I feel like...
It's as wild as R. Kelly making a 45 series opera.
Yo, it was only 22.
He had just learned how to read.
Shut the fuck up! He had not just learned how to read.
Well, I mean, what, like a year or 2 before that?
Probably a year.
He was pretty illiterate going into that, I think.
I feel so bad we having this conversation.
Fuck R. Kelly.
He might fuck you. No.
He might try and pee on you.
So if you have a 300 song soundtrack, I found out the best way you deal with that. All right, you ready?
Yeah.
Here's the best way you deal with a 300 Let me make sure we got everything I needed to have. Okay, I didn't use
You
that.
ready for your 300 song?
How do you deal with it? How do you deal with it?
Yeah, I'm ready to deal with it.
Skip. But you know what? Skip. Bayless. Skip. Bayless. Oh, whoa. Skip. Really, skip. Let's stop it. Skip. No, you didn't. Skip. Whoa. Skip.
That's about right.
Whatever, Skip.
Yep, that's how you deal with
I get through all 300 pretty quickly that way. Skip. There are 3 dates. You did mention that.
Yeah, I mentioned those.
3 dates.
So which one do you think Guardians?
Probably May 1st.
Yeah, I
think they go May 1st.
They'll be Marvel's tentpole. I think
yeah.
they'll be Marvel's tentpole for the year.
Yeah, that's the third installment. That's the big money maker. It doesn't matter if it's even good or not by that point. You know, they've already got
Guardians. We're
money.
good.
You're in.
Speaking of which, Ant-Man, director Peyton Reed, sequel Ant-Man and the Wasp. We just got a nice little picture that shows Ant-Man and the Wasp in their new suits. We'll have that up on the website.
See that as our theme picture
for this. Director Peyton Reed has revealed that Dr. Pym and the Wasp weren't exactly happy with Scott Lang following the infamous airport brawl in Civil War, that is gonna be the premise and the setup for Ant-Man and the Wasp.
Yeah, I think the what'll happen is because of the fact that he's made himself public by becoming Giant Man. Now the world knows there's a Giant Man out there. I think the heat will be on them in the regular world, so that's what will lead them into the quantum world, and that'll get them away from, you know what I mean? That'll drive the story.
And he knows how to go in and out of the quantum realm now.
Right,
so.
yeah, that'll lead him down that path to going there.
We brought up Captain Marvel earlier, and we have some great casting news, okay? So Captain Marvel, Netflix and Spike Lee's, she's got to have it start. DeWanda Wise has joined the cast.
Yeah, she's
now.
great.
It's largely, so here's the thing about this. People have been wondering who will she play, and everybody has thrown out at the same time Monica Rambeau, who is the very first Captain Marvel.
Right.
So I'm hoping that
would be outstanding.
I'm hoping so.
That would be outstanding.
The movie is largely going to involve the Skrull-Kree War, of course, and it takes place in the 80s.
Right.
Now
you're gonna get some more Sam Jackson back in this, young Sam, two-eyed Sam Jackson.
Now here was something I said.
Two-eyed Sam.
Two-eyed Sam. I see you, motherfucker, with both eyes.
I see you, motherfucker.
With depth perception. I said something on Heroes, and somebody tweeted me about it, and I realized it was like, well, the Fantastic Four, if they do it, the Fantastic Four is in the 60s, and Captain America is World War II. Is Captain Marvel technically the first superhero? Well, I think it's kind of, and Ant-Man had been around as well.
Right.
Because I remember in Iron Man 2 or Iron Man, he was telling them, like, yo, you're not the first.
Right.
So, and I thought the reference was initially supposed to be towards Captain Marvel. It can, again, I don't know.
It could be, but if this person is if this person's out in the cosmic area, then the people on Earth wouldn't even know about it.
Or it's his, because remember, he's the director of S.H.I.E.L.D. This is true. But does he know every single thing? Because I think there are things even Fury doesn't know.
I think this is,
of course, Fury knows about Captain Marvel.
Right. By the time the Avengers come about, because now he's going to be in this movie that takes place in the 80s, where he'll originally find out about Captain Marvel. And remember, you've got Jude Law playing Marvel.
They made sure they stacked this lineup up. Of course, we can't go. We can't. We'll be remiss if we don't mention that Brie Larson is playing.
Missed today. I was waiting for missed.
Yeah, you know it. You know it's coming. If Brie Larson
missed again.
Yeah, missed again. Brie Larson is playing Captain Marvel.
Right.
So we get that one. All right.
That movie's gonna be good. I like it. It comes out in 2019. It's a March release. It's a March baby.
Now here is the news we were talking about earlier with the Fox and Disney merger, how it affects certain other films. And I'm pretty sure that is what's caused this. So
yeah, this is the difficulty of what's going on.
First of all, let me start by saying before Bobby says anything, this movie should not be fucking happening.
So let's open by talking about Gambit. They literally started last week by announcing that they were going to start production on the film, and the very next day, Gore Verbinski left the film.
He was like, "I'm out." So, and they were like, "What was it? Scheduling issues, fam? You knew what this."
They were ready to start. They were about to start production.
They were getting ready to do it.
They were going in the next day to start production, and then they were like, "I'm gone.
I'm out."
Gore Verbinski is out of there. So Gore Verbinski is no longer the director of the movie.
There is no director attached to this project,
which has fucked up everything. It's pushed their whole schedule back, which has fucked up everything for Marvel.
Because I don't even know if it's Marvel. It's for Fox. because it's
Well,
now.
that's what I meant. I meant for Fox.
Because it's pushed Gambit from now Valentine's Day of 2019 to June 7th of 2019.
Right.
But because of that, which is weird, it's now forced them to push Deadpool 2 up from June 1st to May 18th.
They need that summer release.
Yeah, I still
early summer release.
No, you should have kept June 1st because why? You're gonna be closer to Infinity. You're 2 weeks behind Infinity War.
Yeah, that's the real big risk they're taking now. Is they're right up on the ass of Infinity War, and they're expecting to just build money off the back of that. I think there's something else with their schedules that they had to deal with in which they had to bring that
Something
forward.
is with that
It's not
deal.
a superhero movie. Like they have another movie on their schedule that they had to release.
Because the next one doesn't make any sense. Due to all of this, New Mutants was supposed to come out in April of this year.
It's ready to go.
It was ready
the
to
movie's
go.
ready to go. It's supposed to come out in 3 months.
In 3 months, it's done. Instead of April of 2018, New Mutants has been pushed back 10 months to April 2019. So it's not April. I'm sorry,
February 2019.
That's what it is. It's supposed to be February. Yeah,
It's February 2019.
February 2019. Because I was looking at our things.
Yeah,
I'm sorry.
I had the wrong piece of information.
So yeah, it was supposed to be April of 2018, and it's now coming out February of 2019.
Here's why that's happening. You want to know why that's happening?
Please.
I will tell you why it's happening. Here's why it's happening. Because the Gambit movie is a trash fire. They know it's a trash fire, right? Originally, it was going to be this year. You were going to get the New Mutants, and then you were going to get Deadpool, and then you're going to have X-Men at the end of the year.
Yeah, X-Men Dark Phoenix.
And then next year you have Gambit and whatever the fuck else they're going to do after that, right? You have the X-Force movie or whatever.
Yeah.
Okay, so when you have Gambit and you have to move it out of that slot, they've realized for sure they got a trash fire next year. They've lost a director now. This movie is done. They need to throw something next year to keep their jobs going. So they can't they're not going to push Deadpool back. The anticipation for Deadpool is too high already.
Why not just push New Mutants back?
They did.
I mean, not New Mutants. I'm sorry, not New Mutants. X-Men Dark Phoenix.
That movie's the dude who's involved in that is too high up in their universe to let that happen. Timber is too high up. That's not going to happen.
I mean, I think I would push Dark Phoenix back.
To where though?
To that February slot.
And just let these two movies ride out. No, they need a for sure moneymaker next year, and they like the New Mutants movie.
Well, okay.
So here's the thing. So what'll happen is
Because they didn't change the release date for X-Men.
If you work at Fox, you got to make sure you have a job next year.
Right.
So if you release the New Mutants and Deadpool this year, and they both destroy, and then next year comes and you just got this fucking shitfire Gambit movie, you're gonna lose your fucking job. You're gonna lose your job. The X-Men movie at the end of the year can be whatever it is because you have these two movies, so it doesn't matter. But if all you guys is shithouse Gambit movie next year, you're fucked. So you got to move New Mutants because you believe in that movie. So you make your money on Gambit this year and it does well, and then X-Men does whatever, and then next year you get the New Mutants, which you think is going to be a fucking killer, and then you for sure will keep your job. That's what that movie is.
I hope you're
I
right.
shit you not, that's what that is.
I hope you're right.
Now, here's the thing. I think it sucks because the New Mutants movie looked dope, and if it's ready, I hate when movies are ready to go and it's just politics. You know who really probably hates it? The fucking actors who are hoping to fucking build off of the movie.
Yeah, they were.
All these people are like, this is my fucking jump off.
Yeah, the unknown ones, the ones who like have done smaller roles, but now you are a mutant in an X-Men universe.
You're a year away from getting the shit that was supposed to be yours. You were months away. Now you're a year and 3 months.
You're like
away.
that
You're
exact.
15 months. It's coming out in February, so now you're 13 months away. You were 3. This business is a motherfucker.
Speaking of the X-Men movie, so Jessica Chastain, now we've always been talking about this. We posted about it on TrustySidekick.com, which you should be going to visit regularly as well. Jessica Chastain's role in X-Men Dark Phoenix. Everyone believed that the Academy Award winner was going to be Queen Lilandra of the Shi'ar Empire.
Which is still possible.
Well, because this movie is more grounded and they're not going into space, we don't know what the fuck we're getting. So her character name is just Smith, okay?
Right.
So they say she's playing a shapeshifter, which means
She could be a Skrull.
she could be a Skrull. Now, Bobby has a theory going into this.
So I think that there's a large part of what's going on here where they may be pushing it this direction for a real reason. As we mentioned earlier, Captain Marvel is really going to be focused on the Skree and Skrull war. If you've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like I have...
Say that again. You said Skree. I didn't realize.
the Skrull and Kree war.
I didn't realize. I was like, well, I said
The Skree and Skrull war.
Because I was sitting there in my head. I was
The
like,
Skrull Kree war is going to be a major part of the Captain Marvel movie.
Right.
And if you've been watching Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. like I have, the Kree have been all
They've
over
been
that.
essentially-
I mean, they have been a large portion of this. So what I see happening is that the Kree are going to become a large portion of what this universe deals with, and the involvement of the Skrulls will obviously create a wonderful opportunity to cross over these two movies. So if Jessica Chastain is a Skrull, then it's possible that this could be the way that they cross over these two universes through this Skrull-Kree conflict. Just a theory.
I don't know, man.
This is how you bring the X-Men to the Avengers.
This
is how that fight happens.
I'm hoping. I don't even know. I'm hoping. I'm really. Hold on. All right. Let's go back. The Gifted. The Gifted season is wrapped up now. We are just recording this right afterwards, so we don't have everything about the season finale.
Right.
So it's a 2-episode.
There's a 2-part season finale. It's 2 hours. It aired on Monday. We'll wrap up the entire season next week. But I'm excited. It's been given the run for season 2.
As they should have.
Yeah.
I mean, you cannot deny this season.
I think it's one of the things that with your Marvel picking up new shows, this is a nice win for you, is getting the Gifted.
Yeah,
it's a great storyline.
It's a perfect X-Men TV series that you wonder why the films can't mimic this.
So one of the things that's always been a big part of the X-Men is the struggle between the different groups, right? Like when you talk about protest or revolt or trying to gain equality as a people, there's often different groups that try and jump into that, and the intermingling of these groups and how they deal with each other is also a thing that's a storyline. And this show has done a great job of showing, like, there's X-Men, there's Mutant, there's the Brotherhood, there's this side family of, you know what I mean, like. One of the big things that the X-Men always covered was the interaction between these different groups of mutants.
Right.
Not just people, but actually mutants, and what their different goals and ideas and how they wanted to gain equality or superiority. I mean, that was also a big fight that went on oftentimes.
Very much.
So instead of just always having it be about how it is with people, we're starting to see this interaction between, like, what's the X-Men way and what's the Brotherhood of Mutants way.
And
right?
also, I love the fact they're bringing in the Hellfire Club, too.
Yeah, and the Hellfire Club. I mean, there's multiple.
Yeah, I was like,
in other words,
yo.
you're kind of bringing to light the fact that, like, when there's an attempt at gaining equality, some of the biggest conflicts are within those groups trying to gain the equality.
Man, don't it sound like black people now? Shouts out to you Hotep ass niggas. Hate you motherfuckers. I'm sorry.
I mean, you see with feminists,
Feminists.
there's a lot of feminists who will argue with each other about what the right version of feminism is.
Because there are
there
different...
are black people that will argue about the right version of Hotepin. They'll be...
Hotep and stepping. Speaking of which, with the X-Men universe, Bryan Singer has been dropped as the executive producer of both the Gifted and Legion as well.
Now off Gifted.
He is off Gifted and Legion as well.
Right thing to do, probably.
And the X-Men films.
Yeah.
He's off of everything officially.
Well, when you're doing when you got a TV show about these kids with special gifts, and
you're known for trying to teach kids with special gifts a certain that they shouldn't be taught. But it should have been done, and this is something that's happened. Now, here's some news in another movie that why the fuck is this happening?
I am so against this. This is.
First of all, before you say it, we're talking about the Venom movie. So just
we are talking about the Venom movie.
I am tired of them saying we have first look photos, and it ain't shit with Tom Hardy standing or sitting the fuck around.
There is something around this, though.
This first look photo actually gave something away.
Yeah,
go ahead.
First of all, Michelle Williams is confirmed that she is playing Anne Wang, who is Eddie Brock's wife, ex-wife.
So they are going to do
She-Venom.
No, I've heard it's for sure they're going to do her.
Well, the next piece of information I'm going to give you will make it even more obvious that that's probably going to happen. The current set pics of Tom Hardy, as Eddie Brock only, are out. It's just Tom Hardy looking like he's pumping your gas. Like, Tom Hardy looks like he's about to ask you if you want regular
hey, man, you want paper plastic? You want to save the environment?
They do show him with a notebook in one of the pictures, referencing some of the. They've scanned in on some of it. The words on some of the reference to Life Foundation, which, if you know from the comics, is a shadowy organization best known from the Lethal Protector storyline,
which is the storyline that this entire film is based on.
Right, and if you know about that storyline, they kidnapped Venom and used the symbiote to create 5 symbiotic soldiers of their own, which were Scream, Phage, Riot, Lasher, and Agony.
Do you remember those?
Here's where my problem is.
Do you remember them?
This is where my fucking problem is.
Go ahead.
Okay? It's too much.
Say it again like that.
It's too much, man. It's too much. It's too much. Why? It's like... This is how you can tell Sony is run by a bunch of dudes, because this is exactly what dudes do.
Don't you want to see all the symbiotes?
This is what dudes do. They're like, okay, so we had to give Marvel Spider-Man, so this is kind of how we're going to get our own thing. Like, no, motherfuckers, understand the process is working.
Let me ask you a
The process
question.
is working.
Let me ask you this question
Even if
then.
you're going to do a Venom movie, just let us introduce us to the dude in the first place. Let us meet the symbiote. Don't have me learn about 6 of the motherfuckers.
Would you rather them did this or Carnage already?
None of that.
Okay.
The fight should be with Eddie Brock becoming Venom. That should be the struggle. The symbiote in itself is what he's got to bring to heal. That's the struggle that's going on.
Well,
there.
when you got to remember with Eddie Brock, it's always him and the symbiote are always 2 different entities.
I understand. That's the point, though. That's the conflict of the movie. That should be the conflict, not this other outside bullshit. There should be other shit going on, but the conflict should be between him and the symbiote.
Okay.
That's how you do a first story, and then at the end you close by showing that there's additional symbiotes out there that are starting to fuck. You know what I mean? Like,
or just in tubes. They ain't even gotten out yet.
But you play the story up, so you actually have 3 or 4 or 5 movies you can make. Yeah. This is like, once it's done, why would you need to go see any more Venom movies? You've already seen 6, 7 motherfuckers with the goddamn symbiote. The fuck's the point now? What are you gonna give me in a second movie after you gave me 6 motherfucking Venom symbiotes?
We are Venom.
Here's 30. Like, what the fuck? Like, what else do you have?
So basically, and the reason I'm laughing because I let you get this out because I want to ask this question again when I brought this up earlier. Now again, with the 5 that we're going to get, because we're guaranteed that's pretty much what this movie is.
Yeah.
Do you want, if they do a sequel? Do you want them to do Carnage then?
Well, if you notice, Carnage is not listed in here.
I know, and that's what I'm saying.
Which is silly, because now you're going to expect me to come back and believe that Carnage is greater than all of these, and I'm supposed to buy that as a fan. Like, and maybe he is, but like, why would you even do it this way? The setup of this is completely backwards, and it's the makings of people who feel like they have to try and make some big splash when they don't have to do that. They can tell a story that would be way simpler. Look at the simplicity with which Fox told a couple of stories with characters that we knew. With Logan, the last movie, even Deadpool, I joke about not being a great movie, but it was a simplified version.
Yes.
It was definitely a movie that you can tell was well done in a budget.
Which, by the way, I will also say that thanks to Bobby Hill and his preaching of Deadpool, I've literally gone on various networks, various podcasts,
and preached my gospel.
And have openly fucking admitted and agreed with him. But if you look at this movie linear, it is a slow film.
I'm telling you, it's an average movie at best.
So I will give you your credit.
Worth the entire credit.
I will give the devil his due.
Still liked it.
Devil is fucking due.
Runaways.
What'd you think of the season?
God, dude, that season it's so hard to do an involving story of kids and parents when you know the parents are supposed to be the bad guys. Mm-hmm. And so they did this tremendous job of great diversity, great different social and cultural issues covered without
Shouts out to the homie Vladimir Kmanyo who plays Molly's dad, who plays Gene.
Yeah. Just a great job of covering every single aspect of what you want to see out of a movie, out of a show or a series that's supposed to be an all-inclusive kind of a thing, right? Mm-hmm. Like, it was the storyline with, in the comics, you don't get this much of a dimension from the parents.
No,
they're really 2-dimensional. You don't really the reason for their being evil. You just go, they're evil guys. That's just the way it is. Here, there's a lot more of a humanizing of the parents and understanding why they come to where they are. But also at the same time, they're like, fuck these damn kids. Like, we with this alien, dog.
So can we give Julian McMahon his props all the way?
He's a great bad guy.
That man said it's 10 o'clock. Do you know where your children are? I was like, God damn.
They're currently plotting against you.
He was like, see, this is where you fucked up. Your kids saw all this shit, okay? They did this and did that.
He knew from the get-go what was going on.
He knew everything.
And they, they did a great job with that. I think the special effects throughout the series were great. The handling of Old Lace was super well done.
They didn't do overkill with it.
No, they didn't make her have to do too much in it, but she was just enough in the right spots.
What did you think about Allegra Acosta, who plays Molly Hernandez?
Yeah.
How did you think they handled her with her coming into her powers and realizing what she can do?
I thought it was
dealing with everything that she finds out. Hers was like the most emotional roller coaster, if you will.
Yeah, because she's the one who's also she's not into that. she's just entering the stage of puberty, right?
Right.
And she's also just dealing with that. So I think there's a interesting analogy between the idea of a woman kind of coming of age, physically, but also having this huge power outburst at the same time. I think that's a neat thing. Like, you want to talk about a woman grabbing her power right off the bat. This woman,
she grabbed
this girl got her
fucking
period and she started throwing buses around. And
Why does everybody when they
like,
get
holy shit? Could you imagine?
Have we ever discussed this? Why is the common trope in comic books when someone develops a superpower, the first thing that gets destroyed is a sink?
It's always a sink. It's
a
an
sink.
easy prop to destroy.
You ever
Because
notice
they're always
that-
in the bathroom trying to see what's going on.
Yeah, you always know that it's a sink.
They're always in the bathroom looking in the mirror.
And the sink is just gone. The sink's
As somebody who's been fucked up a lot, one of the things you want to do is go look in the bathroom mirror.
This is true.
Okay,
This is-
I've eaten a lot of mushrooms. Don't look in the bathroom mirror. Okay.
oh my god, Mom, I'm bleeding!
Unless you are really interested in freaking out, you don't have superpowers. You still may break the sink.
It's officially been renewed for season 2, which is a great thing.
It's earned it. It was a really good series. I thought the acting was really good on there too. I believed all the familiar relationships.
Shouts out to Angel Parker and Ryan Sands when they was like, "Yo, we going to get our son." The fuck you talking about?
Yeah, and I thought that too. I didn't think they. I don't think they misplayed the cultural situation as far as like dealing with him being an ex-gang member. How
They
that
did
all
it
played
well.
out.
It was done very
It didn't
well.
seem like cheesy or like, sometimes you watch a story about, you watch something with,
You're like,
with
this
some type of
Negro
shit
that
going on
changed
in
his
the
life
hood,
like
you're
that.
I don't buy this motherfucker.
But the way they did this story with him, like Angel, like his wife was his lawyer,
Yeah, it
and then
made
Jonah
sense.
comes along.
It worked for me.
It worked everything out, so I'm good with it. We're
excited.
looking forward for season 2. Also looking forward to getting a couple of the Runaways cast members on here. I'm going to hit them up real soon. I need to make sure a certain person's schedule to get people in here to record. Yeah, I'm looking dead at you, nigga.
I've told you over and over again, tell me when they're available and then we'll figure it out. I keep telling you the days I'm available.
Man, next thing you know, I hear, man, I got to go work, man.
Just tell me.
Okay. Ladies and gentlemen, you all
give me 4 days. Give me like 4 dates, or give me 3 dates. Or
Okay.
give me something with some options, and I go, I can do this one, can't do this one. Or I can count like.
Okay. All right, y'all hear this first.
I mean, they're the actors. They're the ones who have to be on sets and shit.
I get that. And I know.
You know what I mean?
I know some downtime, so I know
So
how to catch.
ask them when they're available.
And I also can-
in the next week. What days are you available?
Okay, then I'll,
cool. How about this time or this time?
And then also I got to figure out how to get this cord so we can do it on Skype, so I
Yeah.
can just have the feed go.
Yeah,
straight
we
through.
can just VPN it.
Let's go to DC news, man. So a little bit of DC news. This happened about 2 weeks ago. We haven't had a chance to cover it. We did put it up on the Trusty Sidekick as well, which you should have checked out.
Yeah.
The DCEU has been shaken up once again.
After Justice League, we talked about how there were going to be dominoes falling. There were some people that left that we covered, but they hadn't really spoken about where they were going. But
And they've done some shaking around. Now, here's the biggest shake around. There is a new president in the head of DC Films. It is now Walter Hamada.
Who?
Walter Hamada. Right, because some people that's literally responsible.
That's what I said when I wrote it on the side. I was like, you may be like, who the fuck is this?
So, you might not know the name, but you'll know some of the properties he's responsible for.
Right.
He's previously an executive at New Line Cinema, where he oversaw the successful It movie.
Good movie.
Also, the Conjuring franchise. He
I
was
haven't watched them, but I hear they're good.
successful for one of the couple of the Final Destination films.
Yep.
Even the remake of Friday the 13th. So
He
basically,
wrote one or two of those in
yes.
there too.
So basically, his niche is in horror.
Right. Which
But-
DC has been a bit of a horror show.
It's been scary to the motherfucker at the box office.
You think they're going to bring a lighter tone with this guy who just did The Conjuring?
All of a sudden, Batman got dolls and shit in the back. You're like, what the fuck? No, so what it's going to be, here's the
Maybe
reason.
for a great Joker movie, though.
Oh my God, I don't even want to see that. Here's why you bring somebody in like this. This is a man who has experiences with universes, with worlds, with series, if you will.
He's had some franchises.
He's had franchises. That's the
He's
other word.
worked with material that's already existed.
So
like
he
it
knows
has already existed.
He also
before
knows
got
how to
there.
streamline things, and he knows how to keep them disciplined.
Right. New Line doesn't have a whole ton of money, and they turn out movies.
But they
so-
turn out great. They turn out box office generators.
Right.
And so Walter Hamada will be a discipline force for DC. Now everybody's saying, well, what about Jeff Johns? Jeff Johns will be working with him, but he is no longer the president. And the reason Jeff Johns is being pushed aside, I think, is Jeff Johns is too attached to the properties as comic book characters, because he is a writer. And so it's, well, will this character do this in the comic book? And I kind of start to agree with you, Bobby, on some points where you got to give him a little leeway to be able to change a bit. You can't have the full story come from the pages to the screens.
Right.
So
You want to see? I mean, I can read that. I don't want to just then turn around and have to watch exactly what I just read.
Right, I can read it.
I like to see I like to see how you do this version of that story. I don't mind that, but I want to see how you do it.
Right,
and then judge what I like and what I don't.
So it'll be interesting to see. Also,
he's also really good friends with James Wan.
I was just about to say he's friends with James Wan. So
they're super tight homies.
So the question becomes, because of where we're at, there are only 2 people in the DCEU who are safe, who cannot be touched.
Right.
That are Gal Gadot and Jason Momoa.
Right. They're like them.
Those are the only 2 that are safe. Do you go ahead?
Well, Ezra Miller looks pretty safe.
Do you
he
go?
Have a movie, but
he is still expendable.
Expendable, right?
He is still expendable.
Not as big of a star as those 2 for sure.
Nope.
Gal Gadot is obviously the power.
Ray Fisher is still expendable.
Oh yeah.
Henry Cavill is expendable.
Yep.
And because Ben Affleck don't know what the fuck he want to do except get fought in the street by Bobby.
I will fight you in the street.
So they're all expendable. Do you go ahead and blow it up? Do you finally just say, fuck it, let's do this?
I don't. Here's the thing: as long as you have, my thing is always, if you have the actors who are interested in being there, it's a matter of can you make the tonal shift with the actual writing and the stories themselves. Because I don't have it's not that I have an issue necessarily with the casting of these characters. Like I don't have a problem with what's his face playing with Momoa playing Aquaman. I don't have a problem with Ezra Miller being the Flash.
Again,
I don't have a problem with
Jason Momoa is not playing Aquaman. Jason Momoa is playing Jason Momoa playing Aquaman.
I'm there for it though. Like I'm chill with that. I don't mind it. I think that's a lot more like how an Aquaman should look. Yeah. And not like some blonde dude. Like fuck that shit. Okay.
Yeah, in orange and green.
If you want to talk about fixing a character and getting him to be where he should be, Jason Momoa is a lot more like that dude should look than what you previously thought. Plus, I think it's a cool way to if you're going to improve on a character who's largely like joked about, turning him into something that's vicious, as the sea often is. The sea is a vicious place. That's why
yes, it is.
Doesn't just be out in it. You know what I mean? Like,
because everybody keep thinking, "Oh my god, fishies are so cute. The motherfuckers will kill you,
dude." The shit that's out there is a fucking. It's a terror show.
Dolphins will fuck you.
You know what I mean? So
no. Dolphins will fuck you.
Right. So
Flipper will take advantage of you.
Exactly.
Flipper don't know social cues.
So I like the idea of playing him like that.
Okay.
I like Stone as Cyborg. Like all that Ray Stone as Cyborg works for me. I don't have a problem with that. Ray Fisher, as Cyborg, that works for me. I don't have any issues with Cavill as Superman. I really like Affleck as Batman, but I will fight him in the streets if he decides to leave. And also the Jen Garner thing, real problem with that. But so I would like to just see them tell the right fucking story though. Like make a good movie with those people though. Let them people make a good movie.
I'm 100% with you, so let's see what happens. Speaking of movies that are going to happen, and it's in production right now, Shazam! How do we know to do that on the same? First of all, I just want y'all to know the reason I'm so sick. We didn't even look at each other. That shit just two niggas go Shazam! It is something about black people when you say they just
every time I see the word, I secretly hope if I say it that I will get powers.
And here's the thing, every time I say it, I secretly hope I'll be transported back to the 1970s with the Afro and bell bottoms thing.
70s still not a great time for people like me.
This is true. This is very fucking. I just hope I get the powers in. This is very fucking true.
There is some news that's come out of that. Cooper Andrews, who played Ezekiel's loyal and lovable knight Jerry on The Walking Dead.
My king.
Yeah.
He was like, I am not your king. With a secret realm, like, I'm not your king. I'm not your king.
He is actually joining the cast. He's going to play Billy Batson's foster parent. So he's going to be he's going to probably be a super nice dude in this show.
Faith Herman from the Emmy Award-winning show This Is Us. She's more than likely going to play Darla Dudley, and this is the young African American girl who's a friend of young Billy Batson, who's played by Asher Angel, and she's in the group home that they both live in together.
Yeah, they've been running out the kid cast, so obviously there's going to be a lot of shit with the kids.
So clearly they're not going, but they're not doing the Shazam family.
No.
This isn't that one. This is just regular Billy Batson.
At the moment, that's what it looks like.
Yeah, it's just regular Billy. It's not the 5-6 kids.
No.
Okay. Also, there's some other news.
They're adding the Savannah family.
So
arch nemesis Thaddeus Savannah, who's being reworked. He was like a genius scientist at one point. Now he's potentially going to be a sorcerer.
And it is confirmed that Mark, what's his name? I just had his name in my head. Mark Strong. Strong is playing Dr. Savannah.
Yeah. Mark Strong is playing Dr. Savannah, so that's going to be the bad guy that he's playing when that comes out. There's also a potential possibility that you may get Black Adam for a brief moment in this.
Well, I think DC is official. I think that's one of the things Walter Hamada is going to do. He is scrapping Dwayne Johnson's solo film.
Right.
I believe truly he is scrapping that film.
Yeah.
Because there's no need when you're finna have Black Adam in Suicide Squad 2.
Right.
And he has to show up here. He has to.
Yeah, I just think that's a necessity. So there's definitely a cameo as a mysterious man playing Shazam's underling in this movie.
It could be Black Adam because
it may be an early version of Black Adam where he's just doing that.
And it now has Shazam also has its official release date, April 5th, 2019, which is a very interesting date for a reason.
It's a very safe, comfortable spot for them if it works out right, because Captain Marvel comes out in March, and then Avengers 4 comes out in May.
They will go ahead and ride that superhero wave.
Like Captain Marvel hits in March, and that'll be Marvel's first female-led superhero movie.
Yes, it will.
In that universe. And it's Brie Larson, and it's Jude Law.
We talked about it earlier.
DeWanda Wise. I mean, this is a cool cast of people.
It's a good cast of people.
And Sam Jackson, and so I'm sure they're going to find some good bad guys in that one, too. So that's going to be solid. And then all of a sudden you get Shazam right after that, who was also Captain Marvel at one point, I might add.
Which people, because I used to get confused as a kid. I was like, wait, Captain
right.
Marvel?
Is he Shazam or is he Captain Marvel?
Who wanna Shazam?
Yeah, he is actually Captain Marvel.
Yeah.
But he had to be reworked, and he goes by Shazam.
He goes by Shazam.
So that'll come out April 5th, and then Avengers 4 comes out right after that in May. So
riding
get
that
your
wave.
Money. Get your money. Speaking of Cyborg, Joe Morton, who plays the dad in the movie.
If you don't know, he is what I had his name talking about. Jesus Christ! Why did I just
Joe Morton's Jesus Christ?
No. Papa, what's his name? What's Olivia? Papa Pope.
Oh yeah, Papa Pope.
Papa Pope from Scandal.
Yeah, Papa Pope from Scandal. Apparently, there's still a Cyborg movie that's being worked on right now. He claims it's going to be about the early relationship between him and.
I don't think we need that anymore.
I don't think it's in the.
See, I think that's the problem with movies now. You can't do solo films now that are origins and go backwards because we've already been there. We've seen them in full force, so we don't need that anymore.
What they need to do is do a side movie with him as the Cyborg, where he's got his own shit going on, figuring out some shit, the next level of his superhero-dom, and then tie it back into whatever the world is. That's the move you make.
Green Lantern Corps is actually still going to happen, according to David Goyer, who is working on the movie with Justin Rhodes. So David Goyer, who wrote Man of Steel, is going to write the Green Lantern Corps, which again is a buddy cop movie.
Hal Jordan, John Stewart.
Did they say it's Hal?
Yeah. That's what I've heard.
Okay, because I didn't know if it was. I didn't know if they said exactly who it was.
That's what I've heard.
Okay, so Hal and I know because I know for a fact it's John Stewart.
Right.
So Hal and John, this is cool, but I would like to know who is in these two positions.
Yeah, there's a lot of fleshing out with that thing because it's going to be so much CGI.
It's going to be a lot.
I think it's going to be heavily leaning on how Captain Marvel ends up looking or something. I mean, because Captain Marvel is going to be one of the first movies where you have somebody who can just kind of like fly in space freely. Like, Silver Surfer kind of in the Fantastic Four movies, but those movies are such trash that I don't even want to get into that. So
please don't.
I think it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out because a lot of that works that way. Like with Green Lantern, there's a lot of just flying through space, and
I'm hoping for I hope they
making shit with rings.
I hope they watch the original Green Lantern movie, to know what not to do.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty much
Don't
it.
copy that bullshit.
And then throw it up in Mark Strong's face. You did this! This was you and Sinestro! This was you! You did this! You did this!
Onto the DC TV side, the good old Berlanti universe. Actually, let's start with this. Black Lightning. By the time you're getting this, Black Lightning will be out.
Let's say something for please. We talk a lot about Black Panther.
It's Black Year going on right now.
It's the blackest year ever. So please support. Now support this show because we have Luke Cage coming back out. Black Lightning needs your support.
Right. Luke Cage, Black Lightning, and Black Panther this year. Oh shit, dog.
Power to the people.
Right? Making moves on this year. Wrinkle in Time, goddamn. Ava DuVernay, this motherfucker. Oprah Winfrey, nigga. Damn, girl.
One of the biggest things and most important things about Black Lightning that we have to mention is Black Lightning has done something that I'm not sure has been done in a very long time, if it has ever been done. It is a comic book TV show that is rated 100% fresh on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah, it is a very highly anticipated show, surprisingly anticipated for a lot of people. But again, it goes back to that same bullshit that we were talking about before, where it's like, the cast is largely African American. I think the surprising part is really about the fact that it's a CW show about a guy who's kind of a middle-aged dude, where a lot of their shows are very youth-based.
Right.
This is a middle-aged dude who's also not learning about his powers. He's already had the powers.
He's been there, done that, and was like, yo.
But I would definitely say make sure you tune into it. It's not directly connected to the universe just yet.
Which I haven't seen it yet, which I'm shocked. Because we don't even know what city he's in.
Right.
Because in the comics,
I think it's Los Angeles.
So that's what this is set, Los Angeles?
I think it's where it's set.
Okay, because I know in the comics, he's right outside Metropolis.
Yeah, so I'm not sure. I'll be interested to see where that goes. Legends tomorrow, Katie Lotz. The big question has been who's going to fill Firestorm's shoes.
I've seen a picture. So you got one, and I've seen a picture of another.
So Danielle Panabaker was in Killer Frost makeup with Katie Lotz. Now that could have been an old picture from the crossover stuff, but it could indicate that she's the one who replaces Jackson. There's not a whole lot for Caitlin to do necessarily on the Flash.
Well, there is talk that Wally West is actually going to the Wave Rider. I've seen pictures of him on the Wave Rider. So
maybe they use some interchangeable shit.
Because remember, he wasn't in the crossover.
He was not.
So pictures of him on the Wave Rider, we don't know if it's a one-shot deal or if he's actually going to be the new black guy.
Maybe there could be some trade-off. They do need a new black guy.
They need a black guy.
They can use a new black guy. They've got a good amount of women on there right now.
But they don't have a black Hammer Firestorm.
No black Hammer Firestorm anymore.
Firestorm.
Supergirl is back on. It is in its current run. As we talked about before, it's kind of flip-flopping with Legends for a while, so it's got the next 4 or 5 weeks.
Also, I'm sorry about that, Bobby. If you checked the website, you saw that we have a picture officially of Chris Wood in his Monel getup.
He's in the full Monel getup.
He's in his Legion of Superheroes.
I gotta be honest, I'm not a big fan of the Legion of Superhero outfits that they're wearing. If you recall,
you want the originals?
Well, if you recall, the Legion of Superheroes were kind of built off of this fandom of Superman.
They were reversed.
Their uniforms were kind of like
the opposite of Superman,
copying of that. So
I get you.
The idea that they're all like black and green or whatever the fuck they are.
Yeah, that makes sense. So, but here's another thing about it. Supergirl could possibly, we're not sure, this is really just rumored, she could possibly be getting another nemesis or rival this season, Power Girl.
Yeah, Power Girl. Gemma Atkinson, who's been seen in Emmerdale and Strictly Come Dancing, which I haven't seen. I don't know yet. She was rumored to have read for the part of Supergirl at one point. She's British, and somebody released some fan art. Of course she's British. Somebody released some fan art over in the Power Girl get-up.
Of course she's British.
So maybe
every actor in that
could happen. She looked good in it. British. It was a good...
Yeah, I don't give a fuck. Everybody's British.
Everybody's British now, right?
I say this, my level of...
If I don't make it, it's probably because I'm not British.
Because I'm not British. I'm a black actor, you know what I'm saying? You heard Dave Chappelle and Wayne Brady say we got to stick together, black actors. You know what I'm saying? But British black actors, they stick together and they own union. They own a separate union. You know what I'm saying? These ain't our union. I'm paying these dues. They ain't paying these dues. They come over here now. They dues is obscure. What I'm saying is, I know you have a voice. But, it's just that thing. But nonetheless, the fan art that did show her as Power Girl is nice. Who knows if it's fan art for sure?
Maybe it's somebody who had to do a mock-up for something, and then it
might come out, so we never know. And we got some Flash news, and the Flash news involves Captain Cold.
Not necessarily done with the series, as Wentworth Miller. He said he's got some. He's going back at least one more time. He also says he's not opposed to coming back from time to time if there's a good reason for it.
Well, okay.
Yeah. I guess I'd come back.
Is it going to be Leonard Snart or Leo Snart? Though?
I guess I'd come back if that's what they really need from me.
They need Barry.
Barry, let me tell you something. Do you need a hug?
Barry, you need a hug. Oh my God, it is so hot in here, Barry. Cooling down.
And our final piece of news, something else on your list of things that should not be happening.
That should not be happening.
The show Krypton is premiering on March 21st on the Sci-Fi Network. I know that there's a lot of buzz about the show, mostly from people that really work for Sci-Fi, which is cool. There is a new trailer for the show out. A full trailer has come out for the Sci-Fi show. It looks like it's at least an interesting take. I don't know if the show is going to be any good. I'm not counting on it being any good. But this idea that it takes place a couple generations before Superman, and it's kind of the rise of
here's the
L household.
Well, also here's the premise of the whole story from the trailer, whatnot. So Superman's grandfather he's Sadell. He gets a visitor. We don't know who it is, but it said the visitor is Adam Strange.
Right.
Adam Strange goes back in time to...
Shows up looking like Marty McFly.
Looks like Ron Howard. He looks just like Ron fucking Howard. He shows up
wearing average clothes.
with a Detroit Tiger.
Retreat.
He was like, man, I snuck about the house. So listen, you gotta make this shit quick. So he goes to tell Sajel, listen, there's somebody from my time who's traveling back in time to stop your world from blowing up.
Right.
Now, which is fucked up in retrospect, because you have to make sure you're the person, because if your planet doesn't blow up, my planet will never get your grandson who's the greatest hero in the universe.
Right.
I have to make sure that that the wheels in motion are set
so that your planet blows
so that
up.
my world destroys.
Right. I have to make sure this happens.
Because the universe needs another universe.
Right.
Needs my grandson.
Right. Well, another planet.
No, he says universe.
Oh, is it?
Yeah, he says the universe. Another universe needs my grandson. Fuck your universe. First and foremost,
I'm a father.
I ain't got no father, nigga. Fuck your universe.
First and foremost, I
gotta
don't give a
think.
fuck about your goddamn universe.
And don't hit me with the whole the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Fuck the few. Fuck the many.
We got a whole population on this motherfucker.
But that's the premise of Krypton. So, of course, also do not watch this show thinking you will see powers from Kryptonians.
Not saying no powers on Krypton. There's regular ass niggas.
They are regular ass people. There is no yellow sun to give them powers.
No. The only powers that will happen will be when other people arrive on the planet from
Potentially
other places.
Brainiac might be there because he's a nemesis. I don't...
I get it.
No, I don't even get it. I just because
what you got going on this week, Jay?
Because you know how the show has to go.
Yeah, they all gonna die.
Everyone gotta die.
It don't finish unless they all die. But everyone saw Rogue One too. So.
Yeah. Well, what did I have?
I didn't think everybody had to die in Rogue One.
I think it was great. Everybody fucking died,
terrible.
murdered them all because it was like, yo. Let's not play that whole some goes in. For me, this week is going to be kind of interesting. Today is Tuesday. Hopefully, will this episode be out tonight or tomorrow?
Depends.
Okay, what does that mean? What's
editing?
Oh, you putting it on me? Okay, cool. If you're hearing this on Tuesday, I'll be at the Dime on Fairfax with Adam Hunter. That is like a 9 o'clock show. Thursday, it is a private show in a sense, but I'm doing a show for DreamWorks Animation, so that's going to be very fun. Friday, I will be at the wedding of my buddies, Cody Decker and Jen Sturger.
Nice.
So that'll be nice. I'll be the dude sitting by himself playing with his cell phone. Because why? I don't have a date for a wedding, so I'm by myself. It hurts. But yeah, other than that, that's really it, man. I'll be popping up everywhere, with think pieces about the Black Panther and everything. So I've been on a lot of spots talking about the Black Panther's relevancy to the culture, to what it means for comic book movies, what it means for movies in general going forward, and opportunities for people of color, different things like that. So please make sure you follow me everywhere. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Mr. J Washington. That's MrJaywashington. What's going on with you, Bobby?
I'll be at Ruthless People at Mickey's on WeHo on the 22nd.
I am so mad she gave you a date earlier than mine. When did she give you that one? A long time ago?
Yeah, a while ago.
Okay, she just gave me this one. Okay.
But I'll be there at, it's I think 8 o'clock show? 7 o'clock show? 7 o'clock show. It's in WeHo. If you're in the LA area, come by, check that out. And then I am back in Chicago from the 24th to the 29th. I'll be at Two Brothers Roundhouse in Aurora on the 25th for Still Not Friday with Matt Drufke and a bunch of other great comics. And then I'll be at Laugh Factory that whole weekend. So go to itsbobbyhill.com for all of my dates and shows. Go to mocha_Jesus on Twitter and Instagram to find me on social media. And that's pretty much it.
Man, make sure you find us on Facebook, the Trusty Sidekick Podcast, on Twitter at Sidekick Trusty, Instagram, Trusty Sidekick Pod. Please go check out the TrustySidekick.com and go support our Patreon, man. Support our Patreon. If you support $5 monthly, we give you a shout out. I have to get the Twitter name, the Patreon. I thought I would have had it on deck because we actually have one for this month.
We have a Twitter shout out. We have a shout out for Patreon.
Yes, we have a shout out for Patreon. So give me a second while I'm pulling it up. But please go check out our Patreon, man. We definitely want you to support so we can support us. And we're going to give you things back for supporting there. You're not just going to be giving us stuff and helping. We're helping to build up this network and build up what we're doing on this podcast. So we very much appreciate if you guys can go over to Patreon. You get different level tiers for what you pledge. Shouts out to Steve Tozen, man, who pledged. He gave us a $5 pledge. Man, we appreciate you, Steve. It's the beginning. It's a small thing, and we appreciate you. $5, you get a shout out here.
Stevie Tozen, really appreciate it.
We really appreciate it. So
see how easy that is?
Yeah.
Just a simple thing, and we get you a shout out here. Thank you for listening to the podcast, and and joining in on helping us out with that. So.
Man, thank you to everybody new who has joined in here, man. I hope you had some fun and some laughs with us. We got a lot of stuff out. There's a lot coming up, so we're going to let you know real quick what's about to happen. All of these shows are coming back.
Everything's coming back. We're getting back into regular reviews. We got Supergirl. We got Flash. We got a Black Lightning premiere. We have Arrow coming back.
We got Legion season premiere. Season finale, excuse me.
We're going to get you caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Legion season premiere. Gifted season finale. I'm sorry.
We're going to get you caught up on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then we've got Krypton, which will be premiering, which we'll talk about for the 3 weeks it's on till it gets canceled. And then, and before you know it, we'll have Black Panther, and we'll be in the swing of the summer movies. So this next month or two, get ready.
If you want to get all of your fill on Marvel and DC TV shows and movies, all of the live action versions, your trusty sidekicks are your best bet for it. So make sure you come here. All right. So is that it?
That's it.
With that being said, we wrapped up episode 75 of the Trusty Sidekick podcast here on the Laugh Factory Podcast Network. We meet your resident supervillain, Mr. J. Washington.
And me, resident superhero, Bobby Hill.
We will holler at you guys next week. Take care. We are out of here. Peace.
That's what's up.
Laugh Factory Network.